Right, how are we all doing? The news rolling out of Ibrox today is properly massive. The Cammy Devlin saga takes a chaotic new twist, with two papers telling two completely different stories and the truth somewhere in the middle. And half of Europe now circling one of our brightest defenders, with a League One giant making their move and a player commitment that will absolutely warm your heart. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, stay with me right to the end, because every single one of these stories changes the summer. Right, sit down for this one, because honestly, the Daily Record have run a piece this morning that has me sitting here trying to keep up with everything that is happening at Ibrox. The manager has apparently decided his next signings, and I am going to walk you through every single one of them because there is a lot going on. First bit, and this one is already confirmed, McCrorie. Done deal. Rubber stamped. He becomes the first signing of the Derek McInnes era at Rangers Football Club. Versatile defender, knows the league, knows the badge, the manager wanted him, the manager got him, simple as that. And I really love that the manager has moved this quickly. Because honestly, how many summers have we sat here in late June still waiting for the first name through the door, waiting and waiting while other clubs in Scotland are already doing their business? Not this time. McInnes walked into the building, looked at the squad, and got cracking. That, lads, that is what I want from a manager. Urgency, action, decisiveness. Now, the second name, and here is where it gets a bit chaotic. Cammy Devlin. The Daily Record are saying the rumour mill has gone into overdrive about the prospect of Devlin following McInnes and Shankland down the road from Hearts. But here is the bit that confused me. The Hearts Standard, are reporting that there has been, and I quote, no contact between Rangers and Devlin as of yet. None. So, which is it? One paper says we are closing in. Another paper says we have not even picked up the phone. Honestly, this is the problem with transfer windows. Everybody briefing against everybody, journalists pulling stories out of every corner of the room. But then, and this is the bit that really got my attention, the Records piece goes even further. They are quoting reports on X, social media, saying we are actually closing in on Devlin's signature. That an agreement has been reached on personal terms. That the lad will complete a move to Ibrox in the coming days, after his Tynecastle contract expires next week. So, who do I believe? Well, I will be honest with you. I tend to believe the noise. When you see this many sources, this many whispers, all pointing in the same direction, something is going on behind the scenes. Maybe Hearts Standard are getting fed a line by their sources because Hearts do not want to admit they are about to lose another one. I do not know, but I believe Devlin to Rangers is happening. That is my feeling on this one, and here is why I want it to happen. Now, the Record have done a comparison in the article between Devlin and Lewis Ferguson, the Bologna midfielder, who has also been linked with us. And honestly, when you actually look at the numbers, you cannot ignore what they tell you. Last season, 25-26, Devlin in the Scottish Premiership, Ferguson in Serie A. 28 appearances for Devlin, 27 for Ferguson, so the workload is similar. But the difference in defensive output is, it is night and day. Devlin averaged 4 tackles per game. Ferguson averaged 1 tackle a game. Devlin averaged 2.1 interceptions per game. Ferguson averaged 0.4. Devlin won 8.1 duels per game. Ferguson won 3.1. The Australian outperformed the Scotland international across every single defensive metric that matters. Every one of them. And listen, this is the part that absolutely sells me on this. The article points out that Rangers failed to keep a clean sheet in the last 8 games of last season. 8 games without a clean sheet. So what is the priority for the manager going into next season? Ball winners, tacklers, defensive shields in midfield, players who actually stop opposition attacks before they become goals. Devlin does that. Devlin is built for that. He is exactly what we need. And the other bit, the durability bit. Devlin has started 49 Premiership matches in the past 2 seasons for Hearts. 49. Ferguson has only started 27 league games in the past 2 years. So one is a reliable, week in, week out, never injured warrior. The other is a talented lad who has spent half of his recent career on the sidelines. I know which one I would rather sign. But here is the catch, and I have to be fair to Ferguson here. Lewis Ferguson is a Scotland international playing at the highest level of European football. There is a romance to bringing him home. There is the Scottish identity angle, which fits perfectly with what the manager is building. So I understand why the recruitment team like him. I just think, on the actual football, Devlin is the better fit for what we need right now. Now, there is one more thread running through this record piece that I want to flag for you. The Nicholas Raskin situation. The article hints that we might need to sell to maximize profit on lads entering the final 2 years of their deals. Raskin, Diamand, both in that bracket. And the report mentions an Italian side keen on Raskin. So the picture forming here is sell 1 or 2 of the older midfield bodies, bring in the McCrorie type, bring in Devlin, bring in maybe a Ferguson or another name, and refresh the spine completely. Honestly, I love this energy. I love that the manager is not just adding bodies, he is reshaping the entire identity of this football club. Scottish core, Premiership-proven warriors, ball winners, lads who know what it means to fight for points in places like Tannadice on a Wednesday night. That is the Rangers I remember. That is the Rangers I want back. Right, between Cammy Devlin and Lewis Ferguson, who would you rather see signing for Rangers Football Club this summer? Get it down below. Right, now this next one, I want you to pay proper attention because what is happening with Emmanuel Fernandez is becoming a story that the entire continent of Europe is paying attention to, and honestly, I have very mixed feelings about it. So, the Daily Record have picked up a report from West France, the French paper, and West France are saying that Stade Rennais, the Ligue 1 club, have added our centre-half to their 3-man shortlist for the summer. Their 3-man shortlist, alongside Charlie Cresswell of Toulouse and Yersin Mosquera of Wolves. Let me give you the context here. Fernandez arrived at Rangers Football Club last summer from Peterborough. We paid £3.5 million for him. 3.5. And look, I will be honest with you. In the early months, I was not sure about this signing. He looked a bit raw. A bit, lost at times. I remember sitting at Ibrox in the autumn, watching him and thinking, this might take a while. But then he started to grow. The lad started to settle. By the back end of last season, he was, I think, one of our most consistent performers in the back four. And now look at the names sniffing about. Feyenoord, Bayer Leverkusen, Borussia Dortmund, and now Stade Rennais. We are talking proper European football clubs, the kind of clubs that send scouts to watch every match he plays. Now, here is the bit that, the bit that should give us a bit of comfort. The Daily Record have reported that a significant sell-on percentage was written into the original deal with Peterborough. Significant, which means we cannot just cash in for a quick profit, because a big chunk of that money goes back to England. So, in theory, we are going to demand top dollar before we even entertain a conversation. top dollar. That is the language the article uses, and honestly, I prefer that. I prefer us being difficult. I prefer us saying, look, if you want him, you better come with proper money on the table, because the days of selling our best players for peanuts have to end at this football club. They have to end. And let me tell you the bit that I genuinely love about this. Fernandez himself, towards the end of last season, was asked where he sees himself next season. And he said, listen to this. He said, I see myself being here. I have still got 4 years left on my contract. Whether that is to run down my contract, I am happy here. I am happy to carry on being here. I love that. I really do love hearing a player say that. Not, oh, I am exploring my options. Not, oh, I will see what happens. He looked the camera in the eye and said, I am happy at Rangers. I have got 4 years left and I am staying. That is a player who gets it. That is a player who understands what this badge means. But here is where Ibrox News raise a point I think is worth chewing over. They make the argument that staggering are one of the best talent developers in world football. And honestly, when you look at the names that have come through that club, it is genuinely impressive. They have brought through Ousmane Dembele. They have brought through Eduardo Camavinga. They have brought through Desire Doué. And on top of their own academy, they have signed lads like Rafinha and Jeremy Doku from abroad and turned them into Premier League stars worth tens of millions. So, when Ren pick up the phone about your player, the message Ibrox News are sending is, hang on, maybe you have got something special here that you have not fully realized yet. Maybe Fernandez has another level to reach that we have not seen, and I agree with that argument. I really do. Because if a club with that kind of track record is sniffing around our centre-half, that tells me we have a proper player on our hands. Not a stopgap, not a body. A proper player with a ceiling we have not even scratched. So my position, and I am being honest with you, my position is simple. Hands off. Hands off our centre-half. Tell Rennes politely, tell Dortmund, tell Leverkusen, tell every single one of them. The player has just said publicly he wants to stay. He has 4 years left on his contract. And Rangers Football Club is not in the business of selling defenders we paid £3.5 million for 12 months ago. So, would you sell Emmanuel Fernandez this summer, even for top dollar? Or do you keep this lad and build the new defensive spine of Rangers Football Club around him? Tell me what you think.